So, just a short little video here. I just had this thought pop into my head. I've been thinking about it for quite a while, but this is the only time where it's popped into my head, and I've just decided to pull out the recorder and start talking about it. So, hey guys, name's Poggers, you know it well. Um, I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars games. Hell, it's basically Star Wars is the reason that I've just started my movie critique and show critique channel, which will be linked in the description box below, or the pinned comment. I haven't decided yet. I'm not that far along. But Star Wars video games nowadays, they seem so very limited. And shows, honestly. The shows seem very, very limited. I understand more for the shows why they would have to do something like sticking very strictly to the canon. But for the video games, I don't understand why there has to be this interconnected story, like Fallen Order is canon, Jedi Survivor is canon, Battlefront 2's story is canon. This big open world Star Wars game is probably going to wind up in the canon as well. At least the overarching story of it. But I think that's really dumb. And the game's creators, and I know it's probably not their choice. It's probably in their contract if they're going to make a Star Wars story that it has to stick to the canon, which is why I think a lot of games are starting to branch off into different eras that we haven't yet seen before, like that High Republic game that's going to be coming out. Don't remember the name. Eclipse, was it? They want to be able to branch off and tell their own stories within the Star Wars universe. However, what they're forgetting is that some of the most iconic Star Wars games and titles and stories have come from games that are no longer in the canon and never really were intended to be in the greater canon as a whole. I doubt they were thinking like, oh yes, this is for sure the Star Wars story when they were making Dark Forces and Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. I don't think fitting into canon was the forefront of people's minds when they're playing through Republic Commando, right? I think that the story writers, and again, I know this probably isn't on them, it's probably a Disney thing, right? So I'm going to correct myself and say I think that Disney is greatly neutering, and, you know, I say this, but I know Disney does not care about neutering the story and the potential of Star Wars. They don't care about the story of Star Wars. They care about the messages they can shove into it. And if you're interested to hear my opinion on that, I'm going to be uploading videos on that topic on my movie critique channel on the Classy Sea Urchin Critiques. So yeah, Disney is really to blame in my opinion. It's got to fit into the story. It's all got to be this big cinematic universe, and we're seeing that with multiple franchises. Like it's the Marvel effect. Everything has to be this big connected universe, and it really bastardizes and neuters the story ability. But even Marvel is able to create games that are not canon. So, I mean, why can't Star Wars, right? Like, if they're able to have a Marvel's game where Captain America dies and there's this whole alternate shit, like, we don't have to go and branch into alternate universes. I know if Star Wars were to do that, Disney would be like, ah, yes, it'll be like the, like the time heist and the infinite universes and all that bullshit. That's just really dumb. And I don't want to see that happen to Star Wars. And unfortunately, we're seeing the Marvel effect happen in other franchises too, such as Call of Duty. I got many videos I want to make on Call of Duty, so I'll hold my opinions on that. But I think that's all I really had to say. I don't want to stretch this video out longer than 5 minutes if I don't have to. So thanks for joining me, everybody. The name's Doc Poggers. You know it well. If you agree with me, let me know. If you don't agree with me, share your opinion down below. Let's start a discussion. Let's start a debate. Do we like the whole everything has to be canon, or do you also think that it heavily neuters the ability of storytelling? Or do you just have a totally different take? I would like to hear that. Like I said, let's start a discussion.